Okay, so this is going to be our first video of two for Geometries Unit 3, Day 4. And in it, we're going to be answering the essential question mentioned right there, EQ1. What are reference angles? So all we're going to do is talk about and calculate reference angles in this video. So let's go ahead and start. We have 10 examples here. And in this particular set of problems, we're being asked to not only calculate the reference angle, but to also identify other angles with the same reference angle. So, for example, 60 degrees. So we know 60 degrees will be about right here, right? And let's talk about, well, what is a reference angle? Well, in this case, our reference angle would be 60 degrees. The reference angle basically refers to um, how far, and right now we're in degrees or radians, uh, our angle is from the x-axis. Okay, so in this case, our reference angle and our central angle are the same. So this is my reference angle, but it's also my central angle. Okay. Now, to further illustrate, well, what the difference is, well, let's look at the second part of this series of problems. We're supposed to also come up with angles that have the same reference angle. So, for example, if I just take 180 and I subtract from it 60 degrees, well, that's going to put me up here. That's going to put me up here. I'm having a hard time lining this up for some reason. That's going to put me up here so here's minus 60 degrees. That's going to put me at 120 degrees for my central angle theta. So theta in this case, my central angle would be 120 degrees and my reference angle would be 60 degrees again, right? Another example. So let's go ahead and move on to the next one. Let's try 135 now. So 135 degrees is going to put us in quadrant 2. Okay, and to go back, let me bring some of this back up. So if we're ever in quadrant 1, your reference angle and central angle are going to be the same, just like we saw here. Okay, so anytime you have a quadrant 1 angle, your reference angle and your central angle are the same thing. They're going to be one and the same because the angle itself and its distance from the x-axis is going to be the same. Okay, so looking at this next example, 135. So 135 is going to put us right here in quadrant 2, right? So my central angle is 135 degrees, right? But how far away am I? How far away am I from the x-axis? This is going to be my reference angle. Well, duh, I just do 180 minus 135. I know my reference angle is going to be 45 degrees. Okay, so simple enough there. Well, what else has a reference angle of 45 degrees? Well, the obvious thing to say would be 45 degrees, right? 45 degrees has that, and so too would 225 degrees, right? So theta, my central angle was 225 degrees. Well, I know also that my reference angle here is going to be equal to 45 degrees as well. And I mean, we can find these for all the quadrants. Okay, so let's move on to our next example. So we're not too monotonous here, working on the same example for too long. Okay, so 240 degrees. And I'm probably not going to go through every single one of these examples on this video. I'll probably skip ahead after the 240. So 240 is going to put me right about here, right? And it's probably not a very good judge of scale, but so 240 degrees is going to be my central angle. Now, what is my reference angle? Well, my reference angle, if my central angle is 240, I'm going to reference back to 180. Well, what's the distance from 180 to 240, or the x-axis again, to 240? And the answer there is going to be 60 degrees. Okay, because the distance from here at 180 to here, where the radius of my perspective circle is, would be 60 degrees. Okay, now what other angle has a reference angle of 6 degrees? Right, well, we could also say, whoops, I drew that horrible. We could also say, if we come back from 360 here, from the x-axis there, right, we could also say that 300 degrees also has um, the same reference angle as 240 because they both have this reference angle of 60 degrees. Okay, and excuse my poor drawing, but I'm trying to get through this quickly. I always like to try to keep the videos pretty short and straight to the point, so hopefully I'm accomplishing that. Been making these videos for a while now, and more I'm trying to get these videos more efficient. So now we're looking at 47 degrees. So this is a little weird because it's a non-special angle, but we'll say 47 degrees is about right here. Right, so theta and my reference angle are going to be the same. They're both going to be 47 degrees because we're in quadrant 1 again, right? Now, what other angles have that same reference angle, right? Well, to figure that out, I mean, pick a quadrant. Let's say right here, quadrant 3, right? So to come down into quadrant 3, I'd have to add. And if I want to know what angle has the same reference angle as 47 degrees, well, I would just take 47, which is my reference angle, and add that to 180, right? And that's going to put me about right here, we'll say, right? And that would be, what would that be? 100 and, or my bad, 227 degrees. So this angle, right, this central angle here, theta, would be equal to 227 degrees. Okay, because my reference angle from here to here was 47. Right? What else would have that? Well, if I did, back into quadrant 2, which would actually end up being this angle, I believe. So if I do 180 minus 47 now, to put me back this way, right? That's going to put me right here. That would give me a central angle of, well, 180 minus 47. That would be 133 degrees. Okay, so you see how this works. It's a pretty simple idea. That's how reference angle works. If you have any questions over reference angles or anything else, shoot me an email or otherwise you know where to find me. Goodbye.